Lewis Hamilton's career has been one of the most remarkable journeys in the history of Formula One. For more than a decade and a half, he has been the face of speed, excellence, and determination. But now, as the sport evolves and a new generation of drivers rises to prominence, the reality is starting to set in. Hamilton is nearing the end of his legendary career. The signs are subtle yet undeniable. The pace isn't the same. The fire that once burned uncontrollably seems more reflective, and even his own words suggest a man beginning to look beyond the cockpit. In his early days, Hamilton was a phenomenon. From the moment he burst into Formula One in 2007 with McLaren, he was something different. He wasn't just fast, he was fearless. He would dive into corners where others wouldn't dare, defying logic and physics to make overtakes that left the world stunned. His duel with Fernando Alonso in that rookie season, and the heartbreak of losing the title by a single point, only made his story more compelling. 1 year later, in 2008, he became the youngest world champion in history at the time, a boy from Stevenage who conquered the world. The years that followed, especially his move to Mercedes in 2013, defined his legacy. When he joined the German team, few believed it would become a dynasty. But Hamilton and Mercedes together reshaped Formula One's modern era. Between 2014 and 2020, he won 6 more world championships, matching and eventually surpassing many of Michael Schumacher's long-standing records. He became a symbol not just of sporting excellence but of social change, speaking out on issues of diversity, equality, and human rights in a way few drivers had dared before. Yet, as the years passed, the inevitability of time began to show its mark. Formula One is a sport that evolves relentlessly, and so do its athletes. The Hamilton of today is still fast, still capable of brilliance, but the world around him has changed. Younger drivers like Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and Gabriel Bortoleto represent a new generation hungry for victory, driving cars built around new technologies, with reflexes sharpened by years of simulator training and new methods of preparation. The sport that Hamilton once dominated is no longer his alone. His move to Ferrari was supposed to be a new chapter, a fairy tale ending to an extraordinary career. For many fans, seeing Hamilton in red symbolized the last great challenge, the final mountain to climb. But as the months have gone by, that dream has turned bittersweet. The car hasn't delivered, the performances have been inconsistent, and the tension within Ferrari has only grown. Hamilton's experience and composure remain unmatched, but the machinery under him seems unable to translate that into victories. There's also a sense of reflection in Hamilton's demeanor lately. His interviews sound different. He speaks more about legacy, about life beyond racing, about the causes that matter to him. The man who once lived for every fraction of a second on the stopwatch now talks about impact, influence, and purpose. These are not the words of a driver who's lost motivation, but of one who understands that a chapter is closing. He has nothing left to prove, no records left to chase. His name is already written in gold. That doesn't mean Hamilton has lost his edge completely. Every now and then, he delivers a glimpse of his old self. A perfect qualifying lap, a breathtaking start, a fierce defense against a younger rival. Those moments remind everyone that even in decline, greatness doesn't disappear. It simply matures. But the consistency that once defined him, that relentless hunger to dominate every weekend, seems to have faded. And in Formula One, when even a tenth of a second makes the difference between hero and anonymous, that shift is fatal. For Mercedes, and now for Ferrari, Hamilton's value transcends points or podiums. He is a global ambassador, a living legend whose presence brings prestige and attention. Yet for Hamilton himself, that might no longer be enough. Deep down, he has always been a racer, someone who needs to feel the rush of victory to feel alive. And as that becomes harder to achieve, the emotional cost grows heavier. The 2026 regulation changes could have been his next big hope, a chance to reset the game and perhaps fight again at the top. But time waits for no one. By then, Hamilton will be in his 40s, a veteran in a sport increasingly dominated by youth. The idea of starting over once more, of enduring the grind of development and adaptation, seems less appealing now. He has already lived through multiple eras, faced the toughest competitors, and proven his worth beyond question. Many fans have begun to wonder when the announcement will come. Will Hamilton walk away after one final season, perhaps in 2026? Will he chase one last podium, one last victory, before saying goodbye? Or will he quietly fade, letting the next generation take the spotlight he once commanded effortlessly? Whatever the case, it's clear that the end is closer than ever. And yet, there's something profoundly beautiful about this phase of his career. We are witnessing the slow, graceful sunset of a titan. Hamilton's story isn't ending with a crash or a fall from grace. It's evolving into something more human, a tale of acceptance, of transition, of finding peace after a lifetime of chasing perfection. Few athletes get to leave on their own terms. Hamilton just might. As he walks through the paddock, surrounded by engineers, fans, and journalists who have followed him for years, there's a quiet respect that follows him everywhere. He's not just another driver anymore. He's history in motion. Every lap, every press conference, every handshake feels like part of a farewell tour that no one wants to acknowledge yet. Maybe that's the essence of Lewis Hamilton, a man who came into Formula One to change everything, and did. And now, as he approaches the finish line of his extraordinary journey, the world watches with admiration, nostalgia, and gratitude. Because once he's gone, the sport will never quite be the same again.